This is the island of Sindala, the first project in Neom, your Vision 2030. It is spectacular. It is really beautiful. You know, a lot of people have described you as a visionary leader. I talked to a number of your citizens, and that's how they describe you. And you didn't even plant them. That's really how they talk about you. And world leaders are saying the same thing. You've had this transformational change, every aspect of the kingdom, economic, social, cultural, religious. Can you give us some specific examples of what your goals are and how you think all of this is going?
Well, simply, we have in the past few issues in Saudi Arabia and a lot of opportunities that we didn't use. We're trying to capture that and to go forward for a better Saudi Arabia. And that's what we're trying to do.
And it's a big vision.
It is a big vision, and we get like surprised every day that we reach our target faster, and we extend that to a newer target and a bigger ambition. So it's really exciting.
Your ministers say you work them hard.
Well, you can see in 2022 we are the fastest G20 country growing, and also in this year, if you take just the non-oil GDP part, we are the second fastest in the G20 growing. So it's like a fight between Saudi Arabia and India, a good fight.
You're making a transition on trying to get different parts of the economy, not a heavy reliance on oil. The role of women in the society has evolved significantly. You know, you have this 2030. What do you see 10, 20, 30 years for Saudi Arabia?
I will give you an example. If you look to late 70s, Saudi Arabia GDP is bigger than South Korea. And now South Korea, I think it's the 10th or 11th largest GDP in the world in 2016, and in 2016 we are number 20. So that's a shame. In 1980 we was GDP number, I think, 12 globally, and then in 2016 we are number 20. So we believe if Saudi Arabia and really the perfect track, since that time we will be among the top 7 GDP globally. I'm trying to get Saudi Arabia back on the right track.
You're a data guy.
We can see today we are the largest, number 17 ranked as the largest GDP in the world, but in G20 we are almost ranked number 15 from 20 in just a few years.
The G20, you just mentioned it. You really have become a big player on the world stage, and that G20 rail and ports deal connecting Europe, the Gulf nations, and India, why is that such a big deal?
Logistics is important. If you want to manufacture in your country, if you want to move goods, it's important to have a good logistic plan. You work it with many countries, many regions, to be sure that goods pass in the right time. For example, that project will cut the time of goods from India to Europe by 3 to 6 days. Cut time, save money, and it's more safer, more efficient. So why not? And it's not about only moving goods and railways and ports. It's also about linking grids, energy grids, data, cables, and other stuff will benefit Europe, Middle East, and also India. And most of these energy, all of these energy going to be a green energy that's going to be produced in the Middle East and being exported to Europe and India. So it's a big deal for us and for Europe and for India.
Also mentioned in this deal is Israel. What would it take for you to agree to normalize relations with Israel?
Well, there is approach from President Biden administration to get to that point. For us, the Palestinian issue is very important. We need to solve that part, and we have a good negotiations continue till now. We gotta see where it will go. We hope that it will reach a place that it will ease the life for the Palestinians and get Israel back, as a player in Middle East.
There were reports that you had suspended talks.
No, that's not true.
Not true. So you think, if you were to characterize it, are you close?
Every day we get closer. It seems it's for the first time a real one, serious. We're going to see how it goes.
Can you make a deal with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu? Is that somebody you can deal with?
Well, in Saudi Arabia policy, we don't interfere of who's running each country, who's there. We work with him. Now we don't have a relation with Israel, but if Biden administration succeeded to make, I believe, the biggest historical deal since the end of the Cold War, then we're going to start a relationship, and that relationship going to be continuous regardless of who's running Israel. So,
I mean, he's 73, you're 38, but you think maybe there's a chance that you could deal with him?
If we have a breakthrough of reaching a deal that give the Palestinians their needs and make the region come, we're going to work with whoever's there.
Not to go too far, but the concessions Israel would have to give the Palestinians, what would that look like?
That's part of the negotiation.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to describe things because I want to see really a good life for the Palestinians. So I want just to continue the negotiation with the Biden administration to be sure.
Well, on the U.S. side, would there be a defense pact maybe between Saudi Arabia and the United States? And what would it look like Article 5 in NATO?
Yeah, first of all, we have some sort of that in the past 80 years. We are the biggest buyer from American armament manufacturing. I believe Saudi Arabia alone is bigger than the next 5 buyers from America. So Saudi Arabia is critical in your armament import economically. And we have a lot of security military ties that really strengthen the position of Saudi Arabia in Middle East and strengthen the position of America globally, especially in Middle East. You don't want that to be shifted. You don't want to see Saudi Arabia shifting their armament from America to other place. So that document, it will strengthen that. It will strengthen the interest of America, security interest, military interest, and also economic interest. And also it will save effort and headache from the Saudi side of not switching to other places.
You know, there are many people who wonder why you first normalized relations with Iran, a longtime enemy who back in 2017 attacked your oil facilities, but yet not yet Israel. Can you explain that?
Based on situation and politics. So we have a long fight with Iran since '79. We don't want to be that the norm in the Middle East. If there is opportunity to shift that and to go to prosperity and interest and working with Iran and working with the other Middle Eastern, bringing Iran to work with the Arab world, with the Middle East, why not? So the Iranian reached to the Iraqis in 2020. The Iraqis talk to us. They start to do that kind of negotiation. We have few obstacles. China come in, solve it, and then we have a good start. We hope that continues. We're trying our best, and also what we see from the Iranians, that they're taking this very seriously and they're doing their best. So we're investing in that.
That's a big change, and clearly you can see outside the box on these deals. You know, you can look to that. Are you concerned, though, Iran gets a nuclear weapon, about them getting a nuclear weapon?
Well, we are concerned of any country getting a nuclear weapon. That's a bad move, and you don't need to get a nuclear weapon because you cannot use it. Even if Iran gets a nuclear weapon, any country use a nuclear weapon, that means they are having a war with the rest of the world. The world cannot see another Hiroshima. If the world see 100,000 people dead, that means you are in a war with the rest of the world. So it's a useless effort to reach a nuclear weapon because you cannot use it. If you use it, you got to have a big fight with the rest of the world.
If they get one, will you?
If they get one, we have to get one for security reasons, for balancing power in the Middle East. But we don't want to see that.
Yeah. It's just a big change. You know, a lot of the world experts are saying how you can isolate Iran and try to prevent them from doing what they have been doing. And then just the image of your Saudi team, football team, going to Tehran to play is just striking, right?
Well, that's good. That's part of the movement, and we see very warm welcome from the Iranian side to the Saudi team. I believe Saudis take that very positively.
Iran has been fighting this proxy war in Yemen against you. Just today, there were these high-level talks over the past 5 days with the Houthi rebels inside the kingdom, And the quote from your people is that it was positive. Secretary of State Blinken said that this is a time of opportunity. Do you think it is?
Yeah, definitely. Our aim from day one is to have good life for the Yemenis, good life for the whole countries in the region. For us in Saudi Arabia to progress, to do really great progress and great growth and creating amazing economy in Saudi Arabia and have close to 100% of succeeding of what we're trying to get, that means we need a stable region. To have a stable region, you need economical development in the whole region. You don't need to see problems in Yemen. You need to see Iraq going really forward. You need to see Iran going really forward. You need to see Lebanon going forward. You need to see the rest of the region going forward. And we are working with GCC, with Egypt, with other players in the region, and also with the global players, with our allies in America, to make that happen. That's good for the rest of the world, because you see, when the region is disturbed, ISIS come out, Al-Qaeda come out, terrorist attack come out, piracy come out. So we don't want to see these events. You want to see opportunities for American companies, for European companies, for the rest of the world, and for more growth in a place that create problems in the past few decades.
I mean, obviously, more than 150,000 people died in Yemen. It's been a big humanitarian crisis, but you all put in billions of dollars to help in that, and it doesn't get covered a lot. Do you think it's close to kind of wrapping up?
Well, we are the biggest country in the world who give aid to Yemen in the past and today and tomorrow. And we want to increase that, and also we want to start to invest in Yemen in the economical part in all sides of Yemen, and we are in the process of doing that, even if there is a ceasefire and there is no political agreement yet. But we are trying to push all the areas forward day by day.
Just a couple more things on Iran. Do you think it was a good idea for the U.S. to allow Iran to access that $6 billion in exchange for the 5 American hostages?
You know, you cannot say it's a bad or good policy, but what I would say that it's a step. I hope that the Iranians show that getting that $6 million and getting those American backs, it's worth the effort, because that will encourage the world to do more.
You mentioned China brokering that normalization with Iran. That surprised some folks. Why choose China in that role?
We didn't choose China. China
chose you?
China chose to be a broker to make that happen.
There are signs of change. Obviously, the renewal of relations with Iran, brokered by China, possibly joining BRIC. China's a big component of that. Is the kingdom reevaluating its security partnerships, kind of trying to think of different ways to do it?
No, BRICS is not about political alignments. So if you look at the G20, you have like 2 groups inside the G20. You have the G7 and you have BRICS inside G20. We tried to join the G7 at President Trump time, but some of the countries in G7 have like requirement to be part of that. And we are seeing that if we continue for 1 decade without being part of group inside the G20, that could really create obstacles for us economically. So BRICS is an option. They invite us, and we welcome that. And BRICS is not a group against America or the West. You have a lot of allies in BRICS. You have India, you have Brazil, and you have South Africa. Those are also as your allies.
You talk to all these world leaders. I mean, you talk to all of them. And when was the last time you talked to President Xi?
Something around, I'm not sure,
You've talked to him
2-4 months. Yeah, we talk a lot every year.
Yeah. How do you see him? What's he like?
Well, he's trying to do the best for China, and he has all the right to do that. He's a leader of a country, and he wants his country to succeed and to grow, and he have more than 1 billion people. You don't need to see China failing. If you see China failing, it's around 13-14% of the world GDP, and it's around 15 to 20% of the world population. If that country falls, everyone on the planet falls, even America.
Your Royal Highness, this is Sindala, right on the water. This has to be exciting to see stuff happening.
Yeah. This is one of a lot of islands that we're developing in the Red Sea. So now around 22 islands under construction. That's one of them. And more going to be announced. So it's a shame that you have the best corals in the planet and the Red Sea. still doing very well because it can stand heat, and it's not available for tourists to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So next year it's going to be open, almost 5 islands from the 22 under development. But in total in Red Sea we have 1,150 islands. The aim is to develop 50% of that.
I guarantee you the world does not know you have all these places. Not only that, a snow mountain.
It's very close from here. We are hosting the Asian Winter Games in 29
Saudi.
in Saudi. Yeah, that's something got to change. What's Saudi? Saudi is not about just desert. You have forest in it, you have valleys, oases, tropical islands, mountain islands, sandy islands, corals, and you have snow.
Yeah. So what do you do to blow off steam? When you want to relax, like what do you have fun doing?
Video games.
Oh, what's that? Video games.
Video games.
You're a big gamer.
Since I'm a kid, I love it.
Really?
Yeah, it disconnects me from reality.
So, and there's a big video game part of your ministry, right? There's a out of sports.
Esports is one of the most important things happening globally. It's the most one of the most growing industry in the planet. It grows by 30% every year. So the return of PIF investment every year we have 15 to 25% of profit. So it's really amazing, and we don't want to miss that.
Yeah. When you see,
it's like beating Hollywood today. So one of the streamer on esport, he have more than 2 billion views, more than the biggest Hollywood movie.
it's amazing.
So it's serious.
And you, to blow off steam, to do something, you get on a video game?
Get on it with my kids or my friend and just disconnect for a few hours.
And if you're outside, what are you, a hiker?
Hiker, diver, enjoying nature. That's the most thing I do outside.
Golfer? This is a Robert Trent Jones Jr. golf course.
Well, there's a lot of small things like golf, paddle, soccer, basketball, whatever, but the main thing is hiking and diving.
So the handicap, is it?
Handicap plus 36. It's horrible.
That's what handicaps are for.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to coming up? I mean, every day is something big for you, listening to your ministers. What are you looking to the next thing?
So today we are trying to close a few things that we are aiming to close it the first half of 2024. And then we're going to shift to implementation and starting preparation for Vision 2040 and announcing Vision 2040 in 2027, 2028. So that's the main thing that we are focusing on.
And do you think that the perception of Saudi is changing? Do you sense that?
Well, I hope that's happening. But for us in Saudi Arabia, we don't look at that. For us in Saudi Arabia, when we do change, we look to our needs, to our people needs, and to our economy needs. If it changed perspective positively, great.
Yeah. We really appreciate the time. Shukran. And we look forward to seeing where Saudi Arabia is by 2030 and beyond.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.